All right, got it. So, hi everyone. Welcome to our Team Fireball Monday night call. It's our time to come together, share our wisdom, and I'm just so excited to be here with all of you. Just real quick, my story, in case you don't know me, my name's Alice Beretta, Pro 5 with LifeVantage, and I absolutely adore our company. And I'm so excited about all of the new things that are happening. One of them being our collagen. Took me a little while to start taking it because I was silly and I had like these auto ships that went out. I forgot that they were going out and they went out right after we came back from Activate. So I was like, oh gosh, I'll wait till next month to order. And then I was kicking myself because I was seeing all of the amazing reviews that were coming in. And then I was like, I want some now. So I finally got mine in. I'm on day 6 and you guys, I'm already feeling some results. But I'll wait to cover that in just a few minutes. So just very briefly, I'm an equine veterinarian, mom of 2 boys and a wife, and I juggle, crazy life of being a practice owner, a veterinarian who's on call 24/7, and the mom of 2 boys that are out of school right now. So fitting in LifeVantage is not easy. I really just do the simple thing of do something every day, something for personal growth and something for my business. And that's how I kind of make it happen and keep it happening. And I just adore my team. So it doesn't feel like work. It really feels like we're in it together on the same journey, making a huge difference. And it's the most fulfilling thing. So, but I do have a little PowerPoint with some slides. So I'm going to share that with you. So first of all, I wanted to start our call by saying congratulations. So welcome to the call if you're on live or if you're listening to the recording. And I just wanted to congratulate all of you who had new distributors, new enrollments, new customers. In the last week or so, we skipped the last team call due to, wait a minute. Can you guys see that? You can't see that, can you? Okay, hold on.
I just made you a co-host, so.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
To try again.
All right, let me try that again. Let's see. I thought it was too easy. Let me see. Let me find it again. Share screen. I swear it looks a little different every time. It just keeps me on my toes. All right, can you guys see that? Okay, perfect. All right, so congratulations to those of you who have new enrollments. Jenny Field, Carrie Stone, Terry Hoblet. Did I pronounce Terry's name right? Okay, good. And Carol Betts. So congratulations to all of you for sharing the information, educating people, and just, doing what we do, sharing with others and enrolling new customers who will then have wonderful stories and testimonials that you can share with others. So this is how we build it. That's how, it's just one customer at a time. Each customer is so valuable to us. And we really, really appreciate all of you that are sharing the information. So thanks and congratulations. So I wanted to share with you guys a book that I've been reading, and it's called The Big Leap. And it was shared with us. It was given to us at Pro 5 Summit that I attended. I guess it was in March, but it just took me a while to get going and start reading it. Back to that juggle of life thing. And sometimes we don't, our priorities aren't in the right place. But I really love this book because it really made me think. Reevaluate, really look inward and not critically, but just observe the things that I do that limit myself. So it was just, I don't know, I was very passionate about the things that I learned and I wanted to share it with you guys. And so the big thing that it talks about is, conquering your hidden fear. The thing that's holding us back. So what is it that's holding us back? And the author calls it the upper limit problem. And the way he looks at it and what he describes is that when we reach a certain height in our success, this certain plateau, almost like that glass ceiling where there's more success above, but you just can't get past it. And he calls it your upper limit of success. And when we reach that upper limit, almost like a thermostat, we tend to do things that knock us back down, like knock us back into our everyday routine, our everyday life, our comfort zone. And we just have this unconscious tendency to kind of trip this upper limit switch. And we unintentionally limit ourselves, like almost sabotage ourselves when we reach a certain amount of success. And the way that he explains it, and it actually makes sense, is that evolutionarily, we're kind of hardwired to be in survival mode, right? Like when we were out in the wild and we have food in our bellies and we're comfortable, we need to be looking for the next thing that's going to come around the corner and attack us or steal our food that we just gathered or whatever it is. And so we really couldn't just relax and enjoy that things were going well and that we were successful because we were always in survival mode. And so we're no longer in that situation. Like we shouldn't still be in survival mode, but we are just hardwired to stay there. And so we tend to somehow mess it up when we reach a certain level. If things have been going too well for too long, we just tend to screw it up somehow. So he talks about the 4 zones of incompetence. The 4 zones. And number 1 is the zone of incompetence. Those are the activities that we're not good at, right? So we just shouldn't do them. Like things like being a ballerina. Like I wouldn't be good at that. Like I could probably improve, but it's not where I need to be. It's not what I need to be chasing. It's not something that I would enjoy and be great at. So those things that you're not good at, just don't do them. Like maybe cleaning your house or whatever it is, like pay somebody else to do it. Or if it's washing your car or, like sometimes I try to do things that I'm not good at. And I'm like, I just wasted all this time and I did a terrible job and I could have had somebody else do it in 10 minutes and it would have been a much better scenario. So anything in the zone of incompetence, just stay away from it. It's not worth your time. It's not worth your energy. It's not worth your frustration. So find somebody else who can help you do it and move on. Your zone of competence. So the things that you're good at, but others can do them just as well as you. So those are things like, same example, I'm going to go back to the house cleaning thing. Like you can clean your house, but somebody else can probably do it better. Maybe your time is better in doing something else. So if you're a CEO and you own a business and you're really great at, talking to people and taking people out to dinner and making connections and whatever, you probably shouldn't be working on the marketing stuff or public relations or whatever, like hire somebody else who is better at that. Then there's the zone of excellence. And those are activities that you do extremely well. And that's usually somewhere where you can make a good living, right? That's where your family and your friends and your job or your organization, your people, that's where they want you to be. They want you to be in that zone of excellence. You're dependable there and they know what to expect from you and you're good at that. So it's comfortable. So you want to stay there. But according to the author, that comfort zone where we're really good at something, eventually we're going to start feeling, we're going to kind of run into this wall where you get blocked and you're no longer fulfilled and you're finding like reasons and excuses why you don't want to do it or why everything's in your way or you're not able to be successful. And so then he talks about the zone of genius. And the zone of genius doesn't feel like work. Those are activities that you're really passionate about. Time flies by, like you don't even feel the time go by, and you're using your gifts. That is where you're really your best version of you. But he says a lot of people never get there. because they're kind of stuck in one of those other zones. So typical ways that we kind of upper limit ourselves, right, where we hit that thermostat, where we can't get past that zone of excellence, he calls it your upper limit noise. And some of those examples, and it's a really great way of looking at these things because we all know we do them. We all know they're not good for us. But to really look at them as upper limit problems or upper limit noise, it really makes you look at them in a different light, more objectively instead of critically. So one of them is worry. And there's two different kinds of worries, right? There's some worries that are helpful. Like if you think you left the stove on when you left the house, that's a legit worry. Like you need to act on it. You need to turn around, go home, turn the stove off, or call your neighbor, have them check on it. Like that's something that you need to act on. So if you have a true worry, something that potentially could have really happened, act on it, and then it's null and void. But it's that chronic worrying where we worry over things that really don't matter, or they don't matter that much, or they're not even real. Like we're worried about what people think. Or he shared one story about a guy who worried about how much money his wife was spending on toilet paper. She always bought the nice toilet paper. And he was this like crazy billionaire guy. And the author sat down with him and said, look, buddy, look at how much money you're losing in the stocks on a daily basis when your stocks are rising and falling. Like it pales in comparison to what your wife is spending in toilet paper, even if she bought 10 million rolls of toilet paper a day. Like it's ridiculous that you're mad at your wife for buying more expensive toilet paper. And so he was just like nitpicking about money, but that wasn't the real problem. Like it wasn't the toilet paper, so we just tend to worry about things that are not important. And he says most of the time when we're worrying about money, we're not just worrying about money. There's an underlying bigger thing. The other thing is criticism and blame. And that's not just criticism and blame of others, it's of yourself. We tend to be critical of ourselves. And those are, upper limiting beliefs or upper limiting things that keep us from being successful and rising, above. And he says, when we're criticizing others, we're actually criticizing ourselves because we're seeing those same, things that we're worried about in other people. And so then we're criticizing them, but we're really just criticizing ourselves. And that's just a very debilitating, terrible habit. That he actually says can be very addictive and it's just nasty. So it's kind of a different way of looking at criticizing, but I really feel like it's true. And we probably need to be more mindful of it. The other one is deflecting. And this kind of hit me a little bit. Deflecting is when you won't receive a compliment. Like when somebody says, wow, you did an awesome job. And you're like, no, I just got lucky. Or like, no big deal. It wasn't me, like you won't take credit for something. And it really keeps that positive energy from being received. And it blocks it. It's blocking positive energy. Anything that you're doing that blocks positive energy is going to keep you from reaching your highest level of success or your highest level of you. So, accept the compliment and give one back, So deflecting was a big one. And, a lot of times it stems from us not feeling worthy or for some reason feeling like either we're afraid of being successful or we're afraid of the attention or whatever it is, it's kind of fear-based. The other one was squabbling and arguments. And I really liked his perspective on that too. He said, when people are arguing or even when countries are at war with each other, they're both fighting for that victim role. So they're not really fighting over oil or money or people or resources or whatever, or land. They're actually fighting for who's the victim. And that, unfortunately, is a chronic fight over centuries that eventually turns into a war. Like wars never start overnight. They're usually years and decades, of kind of underlying brewing. And he says the problem with arguments or wars or squabbling is that we're all fighting for that victim role, and nobody's ever going to win. Nobody's ever going to say, I'm the victim, you're the bad guy. The bad guy's never going to say, you're right, I'm the bad guy. The end. So we can keep going back and forth trying to figure out who's the victim. And it's a never ending, life sucking, upper limiting behavior. And it's just really realizing that that's what we're doing. We're just upper limiting ourselves when we get into arguments. Getting sick or hurt. And so that's one that, obviously we don't, when we get sick, we get sick. Like you can catch a virus or catch a cold or, things can happen to you. But he really talked about how we underestimate how much our minds and our emotions affect our physical health. And that I truly believe too. And it was just really interesting how he talked about how, some of them were really awful. Like there was one guy that was very successful. Everything was aligning perfectly. Like he was at the top of his success, and he completely screwed it up by having an affair with his secretary. And after he had, every day after lunch, during his lunch break, afterwards, he would end up with these horrific migraines. And they were literally guilt migraines. Like he did them to himself because of his awful behavior, And so the underlying problem was not the migraine, it was much bigger than that. And he had some explaining to do. And so it was just really, he gave a lot of examples where people, there was another one that was really interesting. It was a guy with laryngitis. He was a professor, and he was supposed to do a speech. And what we didn't know, what everybody else didn't know, is that he and his wife had found some other venture, and he was going to quit his job, and he was planning on doing something else. And he felt super guilty about getting up and doing this speech when his mind wasn't there, his heart wasn't there. He really didn't want to work on that project. He wanted to quit and go do this thing with his wife. And so he ended up showing up to work that morning, and he couldn't talk. He literally had this laryngitis, and he could not get a sound, couldn't get anything out. And he wasn't faking it. It was real. But when he was talking to the author about it, and they really sat down and got to the bottom of it, and he was like, look, you just need to be honest and, tell him that you're quitting and move on and do your thing, and you can't limit yourself because of other people's expectations. If it's time for you to go, it's time for you to go. And in the middle of their conversation, his laryngitis disappeared. It just went away. So it was just really crazy how that physical manifestation is almost your body protecting you from that fear and that discord, that almost internal battle that was happening. His body bailed him out, so it was just really interesting. So it's just was an interesting way of looking at illness and, any kind of physical injury. The other thing was integrity breaches. So lies, and they don't have to be obvious lies. Sometimes they can be small, tiny untruths that make you not see the truth, or excuses we give ourselves or make to others. And they're not completely lies, but they're convenient, so withheld truths, any kind of breach of integrity where you said you were going to do something and then you didn't. I've had that happen to me before, where I had something really positive happen in my business or in life, and then I kind of sabotage it, make myself feel bad because I said I would send or email something or said I would do something, and then I kind of fell short. We do kind of have that tendency to take a positive moment and squash it with some, silly negative thing. So I just thought that was kind of insightful also, although none of it you really want to hear. And so that kind of takes me to another part. But one of the quotes in the book that was really good is that upper limiting behaviors stop the flow of energy, just as a pebble jammed in a garden hose will stop the flow of water. And so that positive energy that flows through us, you know, that comes at us and flows through us and keeps going, that like beautiful circle of positivity where we're contributing in the world, we're contributing to others who are then empowered to contribute to others, you know, that like beautiful flow just gets stopped. It's ended. It is ruined whenever we do those upper limiting behaviors. So one of the things that he said that we need to kind of repeat to ourselves, like he has these little mantras for you to say to yourself, is I expand in abundance, success, and love every day as I inspire those around me to do so. And so I really like that. Just like remembering that we're expanding, right? We're growing. We are constantly becoming a better part of ourselves, and also being willing to be successful and to be in a positive place, and not, you know, when we feel that we're hitting that threshold and we're starting to self-sabotage and do those things that are upper limiting behaviors, that we become aware of them and just realize, you know, once you're aware of them, you can get past them. So one of his quotes that I loved was, fear can be transformed into excitement by breathing fully with it. So he talks about how fear and excitement are actually kind of the same thing. Like when you get that nervous, fearful feeling, it's because you're doing something different or out of the ordinary or something out of your comfort zone. He's like, if you breathe through it, you can move through it. Does that make sense? Versus like stop and run or avoid, or, you know, whatever it is. The other thing that I really liked, and this goes back to those upper limiting beliefs, is that he said, when I maintain an attitude of cheerful wonder and keen interest towards my faults and flaws, I see them dissolve and transform much more rapidly than when I give myself a hard time. So don't be critical of yourself. Don't give yourself a hard time when you're doing one of those upper limiting behaviors or actions. Just look at it like almost in a joking way, like, I'm doing it again. I'm doing that thing that's messing me up. And so like, look at it in a positive way and just know that it's human nature, be aware of it and move past it, instead of like being down on yourself, criticizing yourself, and making that vicious cycle happen. So one of the things that he said that I really thought was important is, instead of focusing on the past, we need to increase our tolerance for things going well in our lives. And it goes back to that whole thermostat thing. Like, we really have trouble being successful for a certain amount of time. Like, we really do kind of like freak out and look for boogers, and we're looking for that survival mode. Like, this is going too well. Something bad's going to happen. And we almost don't realize it, but we somehow create those negative things. Either they're small negative things that we turn into gigantic things because they're all encompassing, or they're big things that we could solve quickly, but instead we get stuck in them and make them worse through some of those upper limiting behaviors. So, you know, taking ownership and really the main thing is trying to elevate that thermostat, you know, keep increasing our tolerance for good. And then just being able to identify that upper limit noise, those things that we do, those self-sabotaging things, and just be that way we can, once you've recognized them and seen those patterns, you can look at them objectively, not critically, and then refocus your mind, your life, your behaviors on those positive things, on finding your purpose and your joy. And he said the goal in life is not to obtain some imaginary ideal. It is, and then I'm sorry, I can't see the bottom of the screen. Let me see if I can move this. Oh, no. Whoops. Okay. I think you guys can read it, but it's not to obtain some imaginary ideal. It is to truly find your gifts. And I can't remember exactly what it says, but I know you guys can read it better than I can. Sorry about that. So, all right. So that's it on upper limiting problems and getting past them. And if you guys want to read the book, it is, let me see, I have it right here. It's The Big Leap by Gay Hendricks. It was really good. It's really a quick read and definitely worth it, especially if you want to kind of dig deep and start to notice the things that you do that don't contribute to your lives in a positive way. But be prepared because you might not want to hear it. So next I want to talk about our collagen. I love our collagen, you guys. Like, I love it in that I am so sad when the bottle's empty and I want more. I'm so glad that it comes in a bottle, like it's pre-measured for us, because otherwise I'd be like extra. But I love it for so many reasons, but I just want to highlight real quick. I know Jenny had covered it really well last week or 2 weeks ago, but I just wanted to go over one more time because I feel like we can't hear it enough, is how it is different. And the 3 things that we need to remember is that it activates new collagen formation, replenishes the collagen that we have lost, and maintains the collagen that we have by slowing down the breakdown of the collagen. So the results, kind of the sciencey, nerdy stuff, which is phenomenal. I cannot believe they got these results. I can't believe it. Like, they just did it again. You know, they just blew it out of the water. It's amazing. It increased production of type 1 collagen by 43%. So 43%, that is kind of like 40% reduction in oxidative stress. Like, those are big numbers. Those are huge numbers. It's a big deal. It is worth your money. You know what I mean? It is worth your time. It is worth sharing with other people. So I think that's incredible. Decreased degradation of collagen by 33%. That is huge also. So you're making more and you're losing less. It's a win-win. That's why people are seeing the before and after photos that we're seeing. Increased production of SOD. SOD is one of those gigantic, so important, crucial antioxidant enzymes. So SOD is superoxide dismutase, and it's increased by 27 times. That's unreal. And it's just the formula. It's a NRF2 activator. It's because of the ruby red quinoa. So it's the coolest thing. It's the greatest thing. So increased production of catalase, that also is an antioxidant enzyme, twofold, and increased epidermal barrier structure. So you just have that protection on your skin layer, and you protect your skin so that you're protecting your whole body. This is kind of like our shell. Our skin is our largest organ, and it filters a lot of oxidative stress and toxins and pollutants and all the above. So just the numbers are crazy and the science is amazing. And I can't believe it. Like, our company's just incredible. So one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about is that one effect that I felt almost instantaneously. Like, I felt it the first day that I took it. And then the second day I was like, okay, this is real. I'm not just imagining it. And I've noticed it daily since I've been on it. But I definitely noticed like a brain enhancement. It's hard to describe, but I look at it as like a better mood focus kind of thing. And I love my Axio. I mean, Axio is the most amazing nootropic, but I still have some days where it's a lot. It's a lot. I'll be honest. Life is a lot. It's full of craziness. And I just kind of get tired because I feel like I'm always having to perform, like kids needing stuff. My phone is constantly blowing up. My clients are demanding. Some of them have really, really stupid questions. And I just have to rise above it all. And sometimes it's exhausting. And I, especially like I just on that, like the afternoons, is when I have a tough time. And I've noticed within an hour of taking my collagen, I just get this like really calm focus. Um, and it's there, it's real. So then I was like, okay, I got to research this because I always thought of collagen as being, enhanced ligaments, tendons, skin, hair, nails, like the outside, like the glue that holds the body together. And I knew that there were internal advantages, right? But I just didn't know a whole lot about it. I hadn't done a lot of research. So I found this one study that was really fun and really awesome. And it just talked about how um, Alzheimer's and dementia is on the rise and how it's predicted to like double in the next few years. I mean, like the numbers were just scary. But honestly, I think it's the same way with cancer and every other disease that we're all would rather stay away from. They're just, the number of cases are just increasing exponentially. And if we don't act and do something different, we're not going to turn this, health crisis around. So it just really goes back to activating your body to work the best way that it can, the way that it should. And we need it, like we live in a pretty toxic environment where we are under a lot of different types of stresses, and we have to biohack or get hijacked, which is one of our things we love to say, but it's true. Like if you don't biohack your body and you don't take care of yourself and you don't give your body what it needs, then you're gonna fall in down that slippery slope of health. So this paper was about the effects of collagen hydrosylates. So it's talking about hydrolyzed collagen like ours, on human brain structure and cognitive function. And the study measured like different physical aspects of the brain as well as like cognitive function and memory and things like that. But let me see if I could move our faces. Okay, so the major finding of this study was that following daily ingestion of the collagen over a 4-week period, so just 30 days, there were significant changes in brain structure as well as improved cognitive function. So I was just like, yes, that's why. I love to read a study that supports what I'm feeling, and what I'm thinking. So it was just, really cool to read that, it also has really positive effects on the brain and also gut health and all sorts of things. Like literally collagen is the glue that holds us together, and it's in between everything. So it was just really a fun paper that I wanted to share with you guys. And that is actually it for my PowerPoint. And I just realized I went over 3 minutes, but I wanted to open up the call to anyone that wanted to share maybe their testimonial or anything positive that they've been feeling on the collagen. If you guys want to share for a minute or so, I'm sure nobody will mind hopping on or staying on for another minute.
I love it so much.
I hear you.
So no, like I seriously, I feel a difference already. Like I've noticed a big change in my eyelashes.
Oh,
I seriously have. Like that's like my one thing when I put mascara on, where I've just felt like and my hair like has been, because I get it colored and stuff like that. I think because I'm going, everything is dry. My skin's dry, my hair's dry and brittle. And so before our product came out, I was already researching collagen, and I'm like, I swear to you, I mean, I haven't been on it a full month yet, but I'm already seeing changes in all of the above. And what's really, really cool, my mom she's recovering from a back surgery. She just got her collagen in. And I'm telling her, I'm like, this is going to help you recover. It's going to help your joints and this and that. And she had this handyman guy come over yesterday and he apparently fell on a job and fractured his orbital bone. And he was talking about this surgery because he came with like an eye patch, and he's mind you, he's installing a handicap bar on my mom's shower. I'm like, are you sure you can see okay? Because like, don't put that thing crooked. But anyway, he was great. But he was saying, like, this surgery they had to do to fix his orbital bone. He said they actually had it was collagen implantation in his orbital bone fracture. And he was talking all about collagen. And I was like, what? You know, and I'm like telling my mom, I was like, see, I told you collagen's amazing. But it's like 80-year-old guy who's my mom's handyman, and he's talking about collagen.
That is so awesome. It's like third party validation, that little old man handyman.
So I'm super excited to, like, for my mom. We actually got her, I was giving her some of my bottles and stuff. And she just got her order in today. So she's going to be taking it. And, but no, like, I crave it. I like, literally, it's almost like a little dessert drink for me. It's like a little sweet tooth thing. Like, I had dinner the other night and it was like Italian, and I'm like, I just need a little sweet something. I'm like, I'll just take my collagen. I swear it like satisfied my sweet tooth, and it's so good.
Yeah, it's like a after dinner drink, like a little cocktail.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know. I love it so much. My mom's doing the same thing where she's like, well, I want to try it and I haven't ordered yet. So she stole 10 bottles. And then today she came over and she's like, I don't want to run out before my order gets here. So she stole another 10 bottles. And I'm like, what about me?
Yeah, no way. Well, and you know, my hair is like, I look back on pictures and it's like, I've always had long hair, and I get to a point where it just doesn't grow beyond a certain length, you know, although I get roots, it doesn't grow in length. And so I'm really excited to see over the next few months, like, if I can actually get some length on my hair. So yeah.
That's awesome. I love it. I love it how we all have different testimonials and feel different things, but I'm going to have to look at my eyelashes.
Yeah. Yeah. And you might not until you put a little mascara on to see. All right.
Awesome. Thank you, Allison. I see Christy unmuting.
I did, because I love what it's done for my fingernails. My fingernails had gotten really, really thin, and they would like peel and just be really, really wussy. And I swear they are so strong, and they're growing like crazy. Like, I'm having to really file them very often, and I didn't used to have to do that. So that's the big thing that I've noticed. I just can't wait to see my before and after pictures.
Yeah, I feel that too. My fingernails have always been really good and really hard, but I mean, I had a couple from like previous injuries that aren't quite normal that would splinter and kind of break, and those are doing better. So I definitely, in just a few days, it's crazy like how quickly we're seeing results. All right. I see Jenny unmuting. Your turn.
Oh, I'll share real quick, if you don't mind taking up a few more minutes of our call. I also have noticed like that mental focus, mental clarity, but more for me is like first thing in the morning. So it hits me the next day, I feel like I just wake up with just being awake and it not feeling like tired when I wake up. So that was kind of one of the first things I noticed when I first started taking it. Also, not to get too like personal, but I have ulcerative colitis, and when they talked about in our doctor's meeting how it is helping people with colitis, with different, you know, inflammatory bowel issues, those type of things, I was like, okay, I'm curious to know what's going to do for me, because I have done so well on our Protandim, and it, you know, really put me in remission with my colitis. But I did notice the first full week of using the collagen, within 30 minutes of me drinking the little teeny bottle, not in a bad way, but my intestines started working. It was crazy. Like just I could just feel things. And it has balanced out now, because at first I was like, oh no, like if this is like gonna like start things in a bad way, I was a little bit like scared, but I was like, nope, you just got to push through and like keep going. And now I can drink it and it doesn't like get all the little bubbles going. But like, I haven't had any pain. I haven't had any issues, but I think it's got my intestines working in a good way, you know, like just activated them again in just a really cool, positive way. So for me, like I'm feeling more things on the inside rather than like the external stuff happening, except for my eyelashes. I totally noticed my eyelashes the other day because we'd been camping for a whole week. So I hadn't put on any makeup or any mascara or anything like that. And I went to go put on some mascara and I'm like, dude, my eyelashes have grown. It's totally crazy. But yeah, so I've noticed those few little things with me. And I took some before pictures of some scars that I have. And I'm really curious to see like in 30, 60 days, what those scars look like with my skin. Because I do have really bad, thin skin. Like I scar really easily. I have stretch marks from my pregnancies. And I just don't have dense, like thick skin. It's very thin. So I'm really curious long-term what the collagen is going to do for that, you know, external part. But for me, I've really felt more internal things happening. Maybe just because I'm more like in tune with some of those things that are going on inside of my body because I've dealt with it for so many years. But the gut health part of it has been huge for me.
Jenny, I'm so glad you talked about that too. I have a friend who doesn't have ulcerative colitis, but she has tried a number of different collagen supplements. She's super into like all that, like especially for hair and skin. And she has not had a collagen supplement on the market that didn't give her diarrhea. And so I was like, girl, you know, I'm like, you need to try this because it's hydrolyzed peptides. And I think a lot of the products on the market, they have all the extra stuff added to it, right? I think she's tried powders and capsules and different things. She's like, it just totally upsets my stomach like every time. And it's just, so I'm really excited to see like how she responds to this one because, you know, that just goes to show you like there are so many different products on the market that aren't anything in terms of quality and, you know, premium products like ours. And that's how I've been talking to people about it. I'm like, look, it's a premium product. You get what you pay for, right? You know? So it's like, if you want to buy the Costco big barrel of powder, you got to freaking mix up every day and it gives you diarrhea, go ahead. But if you want something that's actually going to work for your body, and I mean, look at this glass bottle, taste it. It's like an explosion of flavor and it's delightful. And, you know, you look forward to taking it. And it's just, I love it. I think it's so sellable because of all those things. Like people are just like, oh my gosh, this is it. Like everybody that I've given a sample to, like I've probably given $100 of this stuff away, just letting people try it. But everybody I've like given a bottle to, they save their bottle. They like save their bottle. And you know, when they're staring at it and they're like thinking about it, they're going to order it, you know? And so it's just so funny. Like I encourage people to do that. I know it's an investment, but you can write that off, you know, like let people experience the product while you're telling them how good it is for them, while you're telling them how different it is. And they hang on to that bottle and they're being like, dang, I want some more of that, you know? So it's worth it.
That's awesome. I do love how we look forward to it, you know, like I've never looked forward to taking my Nerve 2. like I take it every day, but I'm not like, I can't wait, so that does make it an extra degree of fun. And I think like the compliance, if people take it every day, they're going to see the results, they're going to feel the results. But if you don't take it, you're not going to. So I think it is awesome that it tastes good and that we look forward to it. And it's funny that you talked about the bottles. Kayma just commented, she said, Kellen loved it when you said explosion of flavor. Kellen's like, I want some. Kayma's ready to try it. I love it. Good to see you, Kayma. So, but it's so much fun. I'm saving my bottles too. I was actually thinking we could wash them out and put some of our little, the bath salts, like just one serving of the Epsom salts or bath salts. And then we could give those away at our, collagen cocktail parties. So I don't know. I just think it would be super fun. So thank you all for being on the call. Sorry, we went over and over and over, but we had to share testimonials and I didn't mean to go quite that long, but it was good stuff. I'm glad I got to share it with you all. So have a good night and we'll see you next Monday. Bye.
Thanks, Alice. Good to see you guys.